Time now for a look at what the international press is reporting this Friday. Florence Villeminot joins me in the studio. Hello to you, Flo. So let's start by taking a look at what everybody's talking about, I'm sure, how the international press is reacting to North Korea's failed attempt to shoot that rocket.
Yes, we're going to take a look at news in Asia, starting with the South Korean press. Hankuk Ilbo, which is a daily there, they say that the crashed rocket shatters North Korea's self-esteem, and there's a similar analysis in the Japanese press, and a big thanks to Yuka Roya from our news desk here, who helped me understand this article. This is an article from Sankei, which is a far-right newspaper in Japan, which is reputed for being very good at covering news from the Korean peninsula. Now, according to this article, the launch was meant to not only mark the 100th anniversary of the nation's founder, Kim Il-sung, but it was also meant to celebrate and glorify the new leader, Kim Jong-un, and to justify his rise to power. Now, according to this article in Sankei, it's a huge blow and a considerable loss of face. And according to analysts in Japan, the new Pyongyang's new leadership could be tempted to make a new move. That's to say, try again. And we'll take a quick look also at China Daily. Their article is very much more factual. It says the satellite has failed to enter orbit. So
doesn't pass any judgment.
Exactly.
So staying with China, a lot of papers focusing on the biggest political scandal to hit the country, of course, in years. It involves allegations of corruption and the mysterious death of a British businessman. Tell us more.
A lot of papers are focusing on this British national. So his name is Neil Haywood, and back in November, he was found dead in his hotel room in Chongqing. Now, according to Chinese government officials, a woman named Gu Kailai, she's the wife of a very powerful politician named Bo Xilai. Now, according to Chinese officials, she is highly suspected of killing him. And it's interesting to note that Bo Xilai has recently been sacked from the communist paper. Now, that's another issue, but a lot of papers are focusing on the British national. For instance, the Wall Street Journal Asia has him on their front page, and they look at his troubled final hours in Chongqing. Now, according to this article, Neil Haywood sensed that something was going wrong, and he told a friend that he thought he was in trouble. Now, he'd been summoned to meet with the Bo Xilai family with whom he had business ties, and he told this friend that he had taken steps in case something happened to him. He had documents that detail the overseas investments of the Bo Xilai family that he left with a lawyer in Britain. So that's according to this article.
So it sounds like he knew something might befall him.
He knew something might be about to happen. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that. But it's interesting to note that it's also getting a lot of coverage in the official Chinese press, in the People's Daily, for instance. There's an article that says that calls for calm after Bo Xilai was sacked, and also says that police authorities have announced the reinvestigation of the death of Neil Haywood.
Moving on to another story, and these are comments by the former chief of police in London. They've sparked anger in Bahrain.
That's right. He was hired to reform Bahrain's security forces. Now, for a year now, there's been a civil unrest that was sparked by pro-democracy protests, so much so that the Formula One franchise has been under pressure to cancel the Grand Prix that's scheduled for April 22nd. But Yates said that since he's been in charge, the Gulf Kingdom is safer than London. Now, this has drawn a lot of criticism from opposition activists who say, safe? They use so much tear gas that we can hardly breathe. According to them, Yates knows very little of the reality of Bahrain from his air-conditioned office.
Maybe he's trying to draw some kind of comparison with the riots in London last year.
Exactly.
I suppose that's the most unrest we've seen there. Now, in other news, comments by a Democratic strategist in the US have stirred controversy on both sides of the fence, as it were.
Yes, this is coming from a Democratic strategist named Hillary Rosen. Now, in an interview on TV, she says that Ann Romney, so Mitt Romney's wife, had never worked a day in her life. Now, this comment has sparked criticism both from the left and Romney herself. She joined Twitter, and her very first tweet was, "I made the choice of staying at home and raising my 5 boys. Believe me, it's hard work." But it's also drawn criticism from the Obama campaign as well, who have been trying to distance themselves as much as possible from these comments. Michelle Obama, for instance, tweeted that every mother works hard and every woman deserves to be respected.
Everyone heading to social media to share their views. Thanks so much for taking us through what's going on in the international press. That is Florence Villeminot, our press reviewer.